Hello, and welcome to day one of Summerween! My name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you might not know this, but Summerween is an annual readathon that I host every July, where we basically, the goal is to try to bring the spooky vibes of Halloween in October into the summertime. So Summerween is a week-long readathon that's going to be happening from today, July 5th, through the 11th. This is going to be the first of 3 Summerween vlogs that you can expect to see from me this week. We do have an Instagram, if you were wondering, called This Is Summerween, that you can follow. I'll have it linked down below. And basically over on the Instagram, you can tag us in your stories over there and we can repost you. A lot of friends have been already posting their TBRs for the week over there. We also have daily Instagram prompt challenges as well as a bingo board. So there's a lot happening over on the Instagram. And then last year during Summerween, I kind of started this new tradition where I rewrite the lyrics of a Taylor Swift song to kind of fit the theme of the readathon. And then I make a cute little Summerween music video with my sister. I'm actually so proud of the music video that we made this year. I feel like it's one of my favorite things that I've ever done for my channel. And so without any further ado, let me present to you Ghoul Summer.
Reading that book in the quiet of the night, you know that I did it. Brand new book, sprayed edges, hardcover, you know I can't resist it. Scaring me bad, I can't put it down. I'll stay up reading till I get to the twist, 'cause I gotta know where the story goes. What doesn't kill me makes me wanna read more. And it's true, the sun is out, sky is so blue. The feeling I've got in it's amazing, 'cause it's finally Summerween, it's cool. That's what I tell them, no rules. Just a few reading prompts, grab a book and read, 'cause it's finally Summerween with you. I get to the very last page and I cry like a baby and I swear from the rage. Oh, said I'm fine, but it wasn't true. But you know I still recommend it to you. And I mark the calendar for July. Every night that summer, want a spooky time. Oh, and I scream so you'll hear me real loud. I miss Halloween, so we'll start celebrating now. Summerween is here for the weekend, it's true. The sun is out, sky is so blue. The feeling I've got in it's amazing, 'cause it's finally Summerween, it's cool. That's what I tell them, no rules. Just a few reading prompts, grab a book and read, 'cause it's finally Summerween with you. It's so hot, but I'll pretend it's not. I'll curl up under the blankets and read a lot. Oh, or maybe we can read on the beach, like ghosts on the sand, just you and me. And we'll mark the calendar for July. Every night that summer, want a spooky time. Oh, and I scream so you'll hear me real loud. I miss Halloween, so we'll start celebrating now. It's Summerween with you.
So yeah, that's the music video for this year. Oh my god, isn't it just so adorable? Huge shout out to my sister, of course, for being such an icon and playing the ghost once again. We filmed this music video at one of my favorite lakes in all of Washington, and it was just so much fun. I was really trying to make it look like it was filmed with a film camera, so I really hope that I accomplished that. But I had so much fun with this music video. I hope that you had fun watching it. I do have quite a bit of a TBR for this week. I also do have some books coming in the mail throughout the week that I could be adding to my TBR along the way. So this TBR is not really set in stone for the week. The only things that are absolutely set in stone are the books that I'm actually planning to get started with today. I mean, for example, Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay is going to be the first book that I'm going to be reading for Summerween. I'm going to be starting this one today. I got the very beautiful, exclusive Barnes & Noble edition. Oh my god, isn't it stunning? Also, check out these Summerween bookmarks, by the way. Oh my god, beautiful, stunning. I'm going to be using this all week long. But yeah, wow, this book is truly incredible. The end papers are stunning, so cool. And the sprayed edges, oh my gosh, I just love it. It looks like it's gonna be really cool to read this book physically too, because there's so much weird formatting in this one. So I'm gonna be starting on Horror Movie today by Paul Tremblay. I'm gonna be reading this one while I'm on Patreon reading sprints, which will be starting in just about an hour. And then I'm also definitely for sure gonna be reading The Summer Hikaru Died. This is a manga that my friend Gavin really highly recommended to me. I think I might try to read this one maybe later tonight. If I can finish Horror Movie today, then my goal would be to read this one tonight, but this one will definitely be read in this vlog. This vlog is going to include days 1 and 2 of this readathon, so oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't believe Summerween is here. I just look forward to these readathons all year long. So let's get started. I'm gonna get changed into my Summerween gear. gosh, look what my mom just dropped off. It's a 5 balloon for 5 years of Summerween. That's so cute. Oh my god, a bunch of little goodies in here. This is Rachel's side, clearly, with the Coke Zero and the Crunch on this side. And then Almond Joys, which are my favorite, if you didn't know. And Sprite, which is my fave. Like, how cute. Oh my god, there's so many little goodies in here. Oh, a skinny popped kettle corn. Dude, how cute is that? And then she also brought muffins, like literally blueberry muffins. So sweet. Oh my gosh, my mom is the best. Always. Wow. Hello, I wanted to film the first update because I have been doing some Patreon reading sprints pretty much all morning. I've been live for like 4 hours now, and I've been reading Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. I'm now 120 pages in, and I thought I would update you because I have such mixed feelings about this book so far. This book is kind of even hard to explain because I feel like even at 120 pages in, I don't even have a full grasp on like what exactly is happening in the book. I don't know. All I do know is that there was this really popular, well-known kind of horror movie thing that came out in 1993, and it was called Horror Movie. Like, which is so straight up. Like, it was literally a horror movie that was called Horror Movie. And it's described as this notorious, disturbing art house horror flick. But the weirdest thing is that the movie never actually was seen in its entirety. And this is the part that really confuses me, but it says only 3 of the film's scenes were ever released to the public. But it had a really big fan base because of these 3 scenes that were leaked to the public. Like, I don't know, the public only ever saw 3 scenes from this movie. So like the whole movie was never actually seen, which I think is so confusing. I'm like, how can a horror movie be so well known and people have never actually seen the full movie? Like, what are you talking about? But basically, we're following this guy who's our narrator of the story, and he's never actually named, but he plays this character who is called the Thin Kid in the movie back from 1993, and now the story's taking place like years later when he's like one of the only survivors from this original movie, and they're trying to make a reboot of this movie, the horror movie. And something that I also find to be a little bit confusing about this book is that some of the characters, like say like the director of the movie, her name is Valentina, and then she also plays a character named Valentina in the movie, and then like there's this character named Cleo, and she's like the screenwriter of the movie, but she also plays the character named Cleo in the movie. So I don't know, it's a little bit confusing to be honest, because like the characters are not only like characters in real life, like the directors and the screenwriters and people, but they're also simultaneously playing characters of the same name. So like I can't imagine trying to read this only on audio or just only listening to this, because I feel like that would make it a little bit confusing to follow along. But speaking of the audiobook, dude, the audiobook is so fantastic. Like, it is so freaking good. It's one of the best quality audiobooks I've ever listened to, because not only are there like, it's a full cast audiobook, you know, so like we do get voice actors for like every different character, but it's really cool because in this story they include, you know, like snippets of the actual screenplay of this movie, Horror Movie, within the chapters. And so it's really cool because not only do you get the actors like actually reading their lines, and sometimes like they'll kind of like mess up their lines and be like, oh sorry, wait, I need to start over, and it sounds like they're actually doing like a live table reading. But then what's really cool is like there's sounds of like shuffling pages every time you actually get to the end of a page on here. So it's really cool because it almost reads like you're in the room with them during an actual reading of the screenplay. The audiobook is just so fantastic. Oh my god, there's like sound effects, there's like music, there's like kind of creepy music during some scenes. And so the audiobook is great. And if you are going to read this book, I would highly recommend listening to this on audio, because wow, they really went the extra mile to make this audiobook really epic, and I really appreciate that. But at the same time, I don't know, like I can't say that I'm loving the story of this. I'm actually finding it really difficult to even follow along with like what's happening. I'm finding it to be kind of confusing. And you know, my experience with Paul Tremblay is very hit or miss, because he's definitely written some books that I've absolutely loved. Like The Cabin at the End of the World is one of my favorite books of all time. But the last experience that I had with Paul Tremblay was The Paul Bearers Club, and that book was a 1-star. Like, I absolutely hated it. And the main reason why I didn't like The Paul Bearers Club is because it read a little bit pretentious to me. And I hate to say it, but I'm starting to get a similar feeling with this book and these characters, because I feel like with the way that he's talking about Horror Movie in a way, like it does feel a little bit pretentious. Like, oh my god, like you just wouldn't get it if you weren't there, and like nobody understands it like we did, and it's just reading a little bit pretentious in that way to me. I also think, you know, the fact that the horror movie was literally titled Horror Movie, and that our main protagonist was just called the Thin Kid, and he like never really had a name, and like he's just this unnamed character. I feel like there's something about that that also reads like a little bit pretentious to me. We literally had a horror movie that was just called a Horror Movie, and like you didn't need any more information information, you only ever saw 3 scenes, but somehow it still was like the biggest thing ever. I'm sorry, I'm just having a hard time like buying into all of that, I guess. I also think the writing too, like if I wasn't listening to this on audio, the writing style itself is so dense. I hate in horror books like this where it's just like walls of text and there's like no paragraphs breaking it up. Like, come on, man. You need to break this up with some paragraphs. Like, I'm so bored. So far it's not going great, but I will say that this one feels like it's more up my alley than the Paul Bearers Club, because the Paul Bearers Club, I feel like at this point, I was like ready to bash my head into the wall. Like, I just did not care anymore. But with this book, it's not that I don't care. Like, I definitely still want to get to the ending of this book and see what ends up happening. So like the intrigue is still there for me. So it's not going terribly, but it's just not going well. Like, I thought that I could really love this, and so far it's not giving me the feeling of like this is gonna be a new favorite. But yeah, we'll just have to see how the rest of the book goes. I'm still currently doing my last reading sprint on Patreon, so hopefully I'll be able to get more of this done this afternoon. My sister also is gonna be making some carne asada and some rice for dinner tonight, so I'm really looking forward to that. Anytime we can have Mexican food, it's always a good time. But I'm really hoping to get this book done today, which is annoying because like I'm not loving it, so like I'm not super excited at the idea of jumping back into this right now, but like I already committed to myself in my brain, like I'm reading this today and I'm finishing this book today. Like, it's gonna happen. You know what sucks too is that it's getting a little bit too hot to actually go on a walk, because I was like, I really want to like go on a walk this afternoon and like get out of the apartment, but like no dude, it's getting to be too hot. It says it's 83 degrees right now. It feels like it's hotter somehow. Like, I really need to start turning on the AC in my room here. We're supposed to get a little heat wave in my part of Washington this weekend, so it's expected to get pretty toasty this weekend. We're actually gonna break 90 degrees here pretty soon, which is a first for this summer. I know a lot of you that are in the hotter places are probably laughing at me, but it's getting toasty here in Washington, okay? We haven't been prepared for this weather. But anyways, let's get back to the reading. Hopefully this book gets better. It's much later in the night now. It's about 7:30, but I wanted to update you because I just finished listening to Horror Movie. Dude, my sister made this carne asada tonight that was actually like life-changing. It was so good. It was like the best carne asada I think that I've had in years. She just cooks it so well, and I made a little quesadilla. She made some rice. Oh my god, it was just amazing. Like a 10 out of 10 dinner tonight. But I just finished listening to Horror Movie, and I'm excited to let you know, I actually really liked the second half of this book a lot more than I liked the first half. I feel like there were some scenes that happened in the second half of this book that will literally stick into this brain forever. Like, there were some truly horrifying things happening, and I was reading some Goodreads reviews because I was trying to figure out like how I feel about this book, because I really don't know. I don't know why I'm really struggling to verbalize my feelings with this one, because I feel so all over the place. But I saw a lot of Goodreads reviewers saying that this book is very like anticlimactic in the end and that nothing really happens, and like I guess I can see what they're saying, but like for me personally, I thought the ending of this book really stepped it up actually, and there was something that happened at the end of this book that I was like, holy shit. Like, in my opinion, I do think the action definitely ramps up towards the end of this book, and I wouldn't say that this is an ending where like nothing really happens. I do think this ends on a slightly kind of ambiguous note, but I actually really loved the ending of this. Like, I thought the ending was so strong. It was so creepy. Like, I think the atmosphere was at its best at the very end of this book. I think my main issue with this book though is that the writing throughout most of this book just never really gripped me the way that I wanted it to. I found most of this book to be pretty boring, and the writing was just really dry, and like I don't know, it definitely came across as like very pretentious to me at times. But then there were also times where like I felt like the writing was really working for me and it really like affected me. There was this one line towards the end that I really loved when he said, "My heart weeps at the thought that we were ever that young." Like, I really love that. Like, oh my god, there were some lines in this book that were so perfectly written. And the final like 2 sentences of this book, oh my god, I love it. Like, I loved that. I thought that was iconic. But I think that's why with a book like this, I'm struggling to rate this, you know, because it's like, how do you rate a book that you found to be a little bit boring and pretentious and you didn't really connect with the characters? But like the audiobook experience was like absolutely incredible, 10 out of 10. And then the second half of the book was actually really good, really memorable, really creepy. And then I loved the ending. So like, yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna go about rating this one. I mean, maybe somewhere around a 3-star feels more right for me with this one. I am really excited though, because you know, I did end up reading this book for my friend Elizabeth for her book club. She runs this book club called the Midnight Society Book Club, and I'm gonna be a co-host for the month of July. So there will be a book club discussion that I'll be a part of with this book. I think it'll be like later this month, but I am excited to discuss this book and kind of like hear everyone's thoughts on this, because I do think there will be a lot to talk about with this one. And I'm curious to see how more people feel about it, because I feel like this is one of those rare books where like I can really see why somebody would love this, and then I can really see why somebody would just like absolutely hate this, you know, like I really can see both sides of it. I mean, for me personally, I think that the book's Curse of the Reaper, like I recently just read Curse of the Reaper, and I feel like that one was slightly better than this one for me, because I think I gave Curse of the Reaper like 4 stars or 3.5 stars, whereas like this one's probably more of like a 3-star. And then I also really loved Burn the Negative by Josh Winning. That was another book that involved like horror movies that I read a while ago, and I ended up loving that one even more than this one too. So like I don't think that this is one of the best, you know, horror books that I've read that involve like a horror movie of some kind, but it was still entertaining enough. I don't know, I had fun with it. At least in that second half, I had fun with it. So I think for the rest of the night, I don't know, it's about 7:30 right now. I think I'm gonna take a shower. I kind of want to get started on editing this video because, you know, since I'm kind of daily vlogging like every other day, I want to stay on top of editing. And then I might try to watch like something tonight. I might try to watch maybe a movie or maybe a TV show, like maybe something spooky. I do think I want to read this after the sun goes down tonight so that I can check off this for the prompt of like reading something in the dark. But you know, here in Washington, we're gonna have to wait until probably almost 10 o'clock tonight. Like the sun takes forever to go down. So we still have a few hours until this could happen. Good morning and welcome to day 2 of Summerween. Dude, last night was so rough because you know how I got like very sick at the end of June? Like I had a flu that lasted for like a week, and ever since then my GERD has been like flaring up, but I thought that I was on like the down end of like my GERD flaring up. Like, you know, usually it comes in waves and then I start to feel better. And so like last night when I had that carne asada and I had Sprite, like I thought I was like through with it, and then my GERD was like, no bitch, you were not through with it. And like, holy shit, that hurt my throat so bad last night. Like I was up so late with like a really bad GERD flare up. Like, oh my god, my throat just felt like it was on fire all night. And so it kind of like kept me up all night. And so even though it's like before 10 a.m. right now, like it's not even that early, but I feel so tired because I like did not sleep well last night because my stupid GERD will like not leave me alone. And so I'm definitely gonna have to take it easy today because I thought I was like done with like the worst of my GERD flare up, and it feels like I'm not. So that's unfortunate for me. But anyways, last night I didn't end up watching anything. There just wasn't really anything that I was interested in watching last night, but I did get some reading done last night. I did decide to read The Summer of Hikaru manga. I read this one in the dark. I read it with my little night light that I have, and I turned on like my moody lighting in my room, and I had some ambiance on the TV, so it wasn't like completely dark in here, but it was just dark enough to be really fun and really creepy, because this is one that I personally had no idea what this story's about, but this definitely had some creepy moments and like some creepy scenes. And it turns out that this one is a horror novel that's also queer, because these young two boys are like into each other. But basically the story starts and he realizes that his friend Hikaru is like not acting like himself, and he's like, I don't think that you're the real Hikaru. And he's starting to realize that his friend Hikaru has been replaced by this thing that's like impersonating his friend. And so this first volume is just him trying to figure out like what the heck is going on with his friend and like who the heck this thing is that's impersonating his friend, and trying to figure out more information. And it was really interesting. I do think that my friend Gavin is right that like this was the perfect like summerween manga, because it was so weird and it was so dark and creepy, but it was also like kind of cute at the same time, because like I'm like kind of shipping whatever's happening between these two. I think I do want to end up giving this one maybe like 4 stars or maybe like 3.5 stars, just because there were some sections, especially at the beginning, where I found it a little bit hard to follow like what was happening. And I don't know if that's just like me being stupid, but I was like, what the heck? Like it was kind of hard to follow the plot in some scenes, but the concept in this was really cool, really unique. Kind of did remind me of that other manga that I read recently called Summertime Rendering. It kind of like had a similar vibe to that one, and that's one that I also think could be a perfect manga for like summertime, because there's a lot of really good island vibes and it's also like horror. I mean, I knew that I felt good about this one though, because the second that I finished reading this, I put the second volume on hold at my library. So like that's a good sign, you know, like I definitely want to continue in this series. And then last night before bed, I was just like laying in bed and I decided that I wanted to start on the audiobook for the Midnight Feast. So last night I got 22% into the audiobook for the Midnight Feast, and this is the new Lucy Folly. You know, this is the one that I wanted to read for this readathon, for checking off the prompt of like a night sky on the cover. And so far this one is going okay. I don't know, it's like I have a good relationship with Lucy Folly, you know, because I loved the guest list. That was a 5 stars for me. And then I really did like the Paris Apartment. I know not a lot of people liked that one, but I think I gave it like 4 stars. Like I had fun with it. I also have read The Hunting Party by her, and I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. So like I have had a miss from Lucy Folly before, but this one feels okay so far. I don't know, we're following a bunch of different characters. They're all people who are at this manor, and this one's kind of doing the thing where like we flash forward and we see that like somebody's been murdered, and then most of the story's taking place like a few days before, and we're trying to like see what led up to the murder. I feel like so far there's been a lot of characters introduced, and I don't know if I'm like connecting with any of them necessarily. And so far it's kind of reading like very slow, because it's a lot of like drama between these characters, you know, it's a lot of like family drama, relationship drama. There's only a few things that have happened so far that are kind of like eerie or weird, or it sounds like they're setting up something creepy that could happen. But I don't know, so far it's been going okay. It's about 10 o'clock right now, so I do have reading sprints starting in 1 hour that are going to be on my YouTube channel with a lot of my friends. So I'm gonna get ready, get changed into my spooky gear. I gotta change out of the Squid Game shirt, you know? And then I think I also like, I really want to stay on top of the Summerween Instagram prompts, because I think the prompt today is to like take a photo of books to make it look like a sunset. And so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get some breakfast. I'm probably just gonna eat something really light, like oatmeal or something, because my throat is like killing me today. Hello, I've been doing some reading sprints with some booktube friends, and it's been going so good so far, but I have still been listening to The Midnight Feast on audio, and I'm now 32% of the way through the Midnight Feast audiobook, and I'm so sorry, but like I am not having a fun time with this. It's actually making me feel a little bit slumpy, because like I'm just not in the mood to be reading this book right now. I don't know what it is about it. I'm just feeling like the story feels very slow paced, like there's just nothing happening. I'm not really invested in any of the characters or like the situations that they're getting put in. For me, it's just feeling like a lot of drama between friends and drama between family and drama in relationships. I know it's probably eventually going to like pick up and get interesting, but because I'm trying to read this during a readathon, I feel like I want to DNF this right now, and I think I will. I don't know if this is going to be like a forever DNF, like maybe I'll get back to this book at some point, but during this readathon, I should be reading things that I'm more interested in right now, so it's going to be a DNF for me for now. I guess I'm going to have to find another book to fit the prompt of like reading a night sky on the cover, but I am so excited because I just went out and checked the mail, and and I ordered some books off of Amazon a couple days ago. These could be perfect books to read during Summerween. So let's open it. And so I ended up ordering these two. Is it The Har or The Hare? And then I also ordered The Forgotten Island. These are both by the same author. I've actually never read anything from this author before, but I've just been hearing really good things about both of these books. I mean, my friend Kayla recently read this one and loved it, and then my friend Jordaline, I think, recently read this one and loved it, and I've just been hearing some good things. I feel like because these are horror books that are also like a little bit on the shorter side, they might be perfect for this readathon. I think I've decided that I'm gonna start with this one, and then maybe I'll try to read this one tomorrow or like a little bit later this week. Hello, it's been a few hours once again. I just wrapped up reading sprints with my friends. It's about 3:45 in the afternoon, and I wanted to update you because I have started on The Har, and holy shit, I'm so glad that I made the decision to DNF the Lucy Folly and start this instead, because this is going so freaking well. Like, I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like this could be a 5-star. Like, I'm loving it, I'm obsessed. I'm 88 pages in, and so I have like about, I don't know, like just a little bit over 100 pages left, and this has been everything. Oh my god, this is a horror book first and foremost, but it's also, I don't know, it feels like bigger than just a horror book because there's a lot of feelings involved with this one. Basically, in the story, we're following this woman who is 84 years old, and she's living in this Scottish fishing village in this little town called Witch Haven, and she's been living there her whole life, and she's like, I intend to die here. She's currently dealing with this issue because like there's these rich people that are trying to come in and like they're trying to build a golf course on the land where she lives, and so the beginning of this book is, you know, a lot of them, you know, coming up to her and being like, we will double the value of your property, we're gonna pay you so much money to move, and she's always just like, fuck you, like I'm not moving, like this is my home. And she is like dead set on the fact that like, no, you will not be living here, like this is my property, this is my home, and she's made that very clear. And then this story really takes off when there's this mysterious fog that creeps inland on their land, and what the fog brings with it is something a little bit unexpected and a little bit creepy and scary. As you can imagine here on the cover, it might be something like this. I love the way that this book is described though, you know, because on the back it says romantic and deranged. The Har is a gore-soaked folk horror fairy tale, and I feel like that's the perfect way to describe this, because so far, oh my gosh, I've only read a few scenes that have been like really truly gory, but like, oh my god, they were horrifying already. Like, I'm already so disgusted and like grossed out by some of the shit that I've been reading in this book. Like, whoa, this author really just went there, you know, like he's not holding back on any of the gory details of like things that are happening to these people, but like at the same time, I'm also like, oh my god, I'm already like in my feelings. Like, this book has almost made me cry 2 different times already. I'm feeling like I'm immediately attached to these characters. Like, the characters are just so well written, and I already had to tab 2 different moments that either made me like surprised or that I wanted to come back to because I was like, wait, what? Like, something happened in the plot that I was so intrigued by. I feel like this book, it's reminding me of so many things that I've loved in the past. I mean, for example, it is kind of reminding me a little bit of We Spread, just in the way that we're following a protagonist who is much older and is, you know, kind of at that point in their lives where like they don't know if they can trust their own mind anymore. It's definitely giving me We Spread vibes. It's also reminding me a lot of like The Shape of Water. It's reminding me a lot of a very specific episode of Black Mirror. It's just reminding me of a lot of different things that I love. I can't even compare this to some things because I feel like that could get into spoiler territory, but it is so up my alley. So I'm very glad that I just started to read this one next, because this feels like it could have some 5-star potential for me, and like I don't want to jinx it, but it's just going so well and I'm already feeling so much. I do have my Patreon movie night for tonight for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's coming up in about 2-ish hours, so I need to figure out what I'm gonna eat for dinner at some point soon, and I'm kind of dreading it, to be honest, because oh my god, like my throat has still been killing me. Like, my GERD has been acting up all day, and so I'm not really sure what I want to eat. Like, I'm hungry and I know that I need to eat, but I'm like dreading it really bad right now because I know that my throat's gonna be acting up. So like, I just know it's gonna be one of those rough nights where like I'm trying to figure out something to eat for dinner that's not gonna hurt me, and it's probably gonna end up hurting me anyways. Yeah, the life of having GERD, it freaking sucks. But anyways, I'm really hoping that I can read some more of this tonight. I mean, I would love to try and finish this one tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time because I'm only reading this with my eyes, you know, like I don't have the audiobook or anything. Okay, literally the night got away from me so freaking fast. It's already 9 o'clock. I just took a quick shower. I just wrapped up the movie night that I had on my Patreon. We watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies together, and it was literally so much fun. That was such a perfect movie group watch because like half of the people in the chat had like seen it before and then the other half had never seen it before, so it was really fun to see everybody's reactions who hasn't seen that movie before because oh my gosh, that ending, dude, that ending is still like one of my favorites. It is such a plot twist. Like I thought it was so much fun and it was a really great group watch. It seemed like everybody who joined had a really fun time, so I'm so glad that we had that earlier tonight. Oh my gosh, I tried to play it safe with dinner for my GERD and I played it so safe because like avocados and eggs for the most part and sourdough bread are all like, you know, really good for GERD, and watermelon is like one of the best fruits that you can have for GERD because it's so low in acid. But like even after playing it so safe today, oh my god, dude, my throat is fucking killing me. So I'm like, can my GERD just please give me a break? Like, oh my god, I'll do anything. But anyways, I did want to update you because I have still been reading the horror. I'm literally 150 pages in. I only have about 50 pages left and I am absolutely loving it. Like I have no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a 5-star read. I mean, just look at all the tabs. Like, are you kidding me? I'm tabbing like crazy now because there are things happening that I am so shocked by. There are things happening that I'm like absolutely disgusted by. Like, oh my gosh, the gore in this book is written so vividly, and there are things happening that I'm like, wait, oh my gosh, like that is so disturbing, but it's so good. Like this is exactly everything that I love in horror because it's not only like gross and grotesque and like ew, disgusting, pulling on my heartstrings, you know, like I'm feeling emotionally connected. I really feel like this ending, it could bring me to tears. I've almost cried a few times just reading those first 150 pages. Like this book is just so beautifully written. I mean, it's definitely horror, like don't get me wrong, the horror elements of this book are pretty intense, but like at the end of the day, this book just has so much heart, and I feel like this was the perfect thing for me to pick up and read today because I've just been flying through it. Like it's been a while since I've just wanted to completely devour a book in one day. It's been a long time since I've had that feeling, so I feel great about this. I'm so sorry to have to leave off this vlog on this cliffhanger right here because I really thought that I would have the time to finish this, but I really need to prioritize editing and finishing up my Summerween vlog so that you can see this tomorrow. And so for the rest of the night, I'm going to finish editing the Summerween vlog and get it rendering and uploading so that I can post it tomorrow. But don't worry because I do plan to read the rest of this tonight, so you'll have to stay tuned for my next vlog to see how I end up feeling. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that this is going to be 5 stars. I'm just curious to see how hard the ending is about to hit me right now. Like, oh my gosh, like am I gonna be sobbing at the end of this one? I don't really know what to expect, but like I'm so excited to read this. So thank you so much for tuning in for these first Summerween vlogs. You know, as I mentioned, I have 3 videos coming out this week, so I should be posting videos on the 7th, the 9th, and the 12th, so you can look forward to the next 2 days of Summerween, hopefully coming out on the 9th. So until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for participating in Summerween. If you are participating, let me know how it's been going for you so far. How many books have you read, and did you find any new favorites? Please do let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon with another vlog. Bye!